You know, there are markets where you tell people to sell first, and there are markets that you tell people to buy first. What do you think this market is?
You know, I've always been in the mindset of selling first, or at least getting your house on the market and getting some sort of deal on it. And the reason I say that is because if you sell your house first, you know exactly how much money you're getting for your home. You are now a more confident and more solid buyer going out into the market, because you can go in and say to that next person that's selling their house that you're buying that, hey, I've got a contract on my home. There's no, selling contingency or whatever, and then you can buy with confidence. If you go out and you buy a house first, the challenge is that you're going to have to go to that seller and say, look, I do still have to sell my house, even if you don't make a contingency. And that seller, especially in this market with all the offers coming in, you're at a disadvantage. You might be, up against 3 or 4 or 5 other buyers who have already have a contract on their house or not selling at all. Maybe they're buying cash or whatever. And even though you're not making a contingency to sell your house, it is a potential problem if you don't, in at least the seller's mind or the listing agent's mind. So there's that. So how do you overcome that? Well, you're going to have to pay more money. You're going to have to outbid and overbid everybody else and make that seller feel, hey, for that extra money, I'm willing to take the risk. So now you're overpaying for the house you're buying. And now once you get that contract signed, you got to go back, get your house on the market, and you've got to sell it real fast. And now you might take a lower price than you might normally would have because you got to hustle. So now you're losing
bitten on both ends.
Yeah, you're getting bitten on both. You're losing money on the house you're selling. You're paying more for the house you're buying. So unless you are in you have that disposable income where you can buy something for cash, or you have enough to put down where you can buy something first and you don't mind holding on to your house a little bit and owning 2 houses at the same time, then I usually recommend selling and then buying. Some people do get a little concerned about that. Like, what if I can't find anything? And in 28 years, I have never had a client that was homeless. I had one client in 28 years that had to stay 1 week in a hotel. We're not going to let anybody be homeless. So we have strategies around that. We can work for an extended closing with the buyer that buys your home. So to give you more time, maybe an extra 120 days. We could do a rent back situation where your buyer rents back your house to you. So now you have your cash and you can go out there and shop with confidence, but you don't have to move right away. And we also have what's called a home of choice clause, which makes the contract contingent on the seller finding suitable housing. So there's ways to protect a seller in a situation where they're concerned about finding their next house. The funny thing is, and every time we do the home of choice, every time we do the rent back or the extended closing, our sellers, once they're under contract, run out and they find a house literally within 1 to 2 weeks. It's without fail. They get hyper focused. They're now in the market. They find a home and they lock it down. We have not had anybody that takes months and months and months to find a house once they get their house sold. So it's important to understand that that's more of a perception that I'm going to be homeless than the actual reality.
Mm.